This is me, it's Queen Elsa Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So I got a message a long time ago from a woman, and I wanted to answer it. I've been researching it all this time, asking people and talking about it and looking at it from different angles. So she said that she was dating an Aquarius, a male, and he told her that he was single, but she just doesn't believe him, quite frankly. And she asked me, what are the signs that an Aquarius is not single, is lying to you, is saying that they're single when they really are not? So a lot of these I got from talking to people who are in relationships, and these are the ones that actually got them caught in most cases. So I figured this was a pretty good list. And also this is a list I've gotten, and this list can really be used with almost any sun sign. She's dating an Aquarius, but I've seen these with other sun signs as well. So if you're dealing with a gentleman or a lady that lacks integrity and is choosing to lie to you about their relationship status, these are 10 things that came up reoccurring, when the person is actually in a relationship and lying to you. So, no matter who you're with, this list should be very helpful. Number one, the first one says disappearing. So the person like just disappears, like for no reason, no explanation, out of nowhere, and just like disappear for hours, days. And a lot of people get busy, emergencies happen, but this is something that happens every so often. They just are MIA, and you're like, well, where were you? And they're very vague about where they were, or what they were doing, or they say things like, oh, we're not in a relationship. Why are you asking me all these questions? They do things like that to try to throw you off. But that's a good one. Disappearing for any amount of time can show that this person is in a relationship. Another one, two, can't talk around the same times every day or in a rotation. So this is like the same time every day they can't talk. Like 3 to 11. They can't talk, you can't find them. And this is like unusual because this isn't their work time, but the same times every day you cannot find them. And it's not during a time when they generally would be working. Or in a rotation, like sometimes they can talk, like maybe every other week they can talk around that time. So this basically tells you that this person is with someone who is off during those times. And if it's a rotation, maybe the person has a swing schedule. So basically, during the times that they can't talk, they're with the other person. And if it keeps on happening repetitively, that's probably the other person's work schedule. They're very cautious during sex. They're trying not to get like hickeys or scratches, or things like that. So during sex, they're going to be very cautious in that way. If they feel you scratching them or biting them or something, they're, they're going to immediately dismount, So they're going to be very cautious, and they'll always have, or maybe even a reason, or I don't like bruises on me or something like that, And I mean, like, who does really want bruises on them? But someone who's overly like jumping up and acting all wild and out. Somebody who's overly is usually somebody who's trying to make sure that there's no evidence left on their body. All right, next one. They can never go away. And if they can go away, it's only for a limited amount of time. You offer to take them on a vacation and they can't go. Who in their right mind gets offered to go on a vacation and can't go? I mean, I could see if you don't have no time off or something like that. But if for all intents and purposes they are able to go and they can't go, or they don't only want to go for a short amount of time, that's usually a sign that they really can't step out like that. So, your vacation plans are always, met with negativity, or evasion is usually a better word for it. They're secretive during phone calls. If they get an emergency call, or something while you two are together, they want to go all walk all off or go to the bathroom. They have to be so far away. They don't want you to hear what they're saying, and they have to answer the phone, because the other person is expecting them to answer the phone, and it's going to be suspicious if they don't. But they don't want you to hear them on the phone, because then you'll know they actually have somebody based on the conversation. All right, let's see what's the next one. This one is about, they can only stay for limited amounts of time, no sleeping over. So, you have this incredible night, you go out to eat, you have a great time, you make love, and then all of a sudden they have to go, and they never stay over, and you start to think like, we only see each other for a certain amount of time. Like, it's always a limited amount of time because they can't stay out all night. If they're in a long-term relationship with somebody, if they're married to somebody, they generally can't stay out all night unless the person that they're with works 11 to 7 shift. Then they can probably play around with that a little bit. So in this case, if they don't, they're unable to do so. So it's going to always be a limited amount of time. They always have to leave. Doesn't take you to their home. If you're seeing somebody for a significant amount of time and you've never seen their place, either they live in a horrible place or they live with somebody that they don't want you to see or you cannot see. Because even a person who has a really messed up place, is not going to be that guarded. I mean, it would have to be really messed up for them to be that guarded with it. So that's oftentimes one that's a tell, because they'll never take you to their home. They're always coming to yours, or always want to go to a hotel, or they always want to go to a third location, but they never take you to their house. Some people are secretive like that. I know people who I've known who've never been to my home too, but generally that's one that can be a tell in a lot of ways, because if you've known them for a long amount of time, especially if you're sleeping together, usually you eventually end up at the person's home. Now, if you just started seeing them, y'all just dating, that's one thing. But you've been with them for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. One person told me 7 years and had never seen the other person's home. Something's weird about that. Something is very, very odd about that. They are MIA during holidays. Married people are notoriously absent during holidays, or in a relationship. They are notoriously absent during holidays. Valentine's Day, Christmas, those are family holidays. So if somebody's in a relationship, that person is typically their family. So they're going to be with that person on those holidays. So if every holiday they disappear, that's a real big sign there's something that's going on. Tan lines around the wedding finger. The wedding finger, this is an old school one. A lot of my old heads know this one. This is an old school one. This one is old. People have been doing this forever. The wedding finger is on the left hand, and it's the fourth finger. And a lot of old school cheaters will take off their wedding band and put it in their pocket, or put it someplace else. So if you're seeing somebody and you see a tan line, that's around that particular finger, the left hand fourth finger, that's a really good sign they took off their wedding band. They took off their engagement ring. They took off their wedding ring. So a lot of times somebody who's committed has a ring on that finger. Not always. I know married people who never wear their ring, period. They just don't like jewelry. But most of us that are in a relationship have a ring on. And if they're going to go to the bar to go cheat, or they're going to go do something, trifling like that, a lot of times they'll take off their wedding band. And number 10, won't introduce you to their kids. Now, I was very funny about anybody meeting my daughter, period. Because for me, if you're not permanent, then you don't need to meet my daughter. But if you've been with somebody for a long time and you've never met their children, and they're telling you we're together, this is, we're going to get married, they're planning a future with you, but you've never met their kids. A lot of times, especially if their kids are older, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, especially if their kids are older, that means they're afraid that their kid is going to tell someone, or, you know, slip and say something or something along those lines. So a lot of times you will not meet their children. Now, this is not always true. This one is one that is 50-50, because some of the times, some people, like when are old school, they'll tell you, some of us did meet our father's girlfriends. I remember seeing her. But it was usually when you're little and your parent don't think you're going to tell, or you know what you do looking at, period. I was taken to this happened several times with me. I had an aunt. I love this aunt so much. And she picked us up. I must have been like 4 or 5 years old. And she's still one of my favorite aunts. And she picked us up, me and her daughter. And she was married. And she went to go see her boyfriend. And we were little, like 4 or 5 years old, and we didn't think nothing of it. We were playing, eating ice cream. He was a really nice guy, My grandmother is my favorite person in the world, and she used to have a side man. She had a gentleman on the side, a gentleman caller. And she was, of course, married to my grandfather. And this gentleman would come get us every weekend. I knew this man. I knew him by name. I knew him by sight. But, I just was told, grandma was just like, keep your mouth shut, mind your business, eat your ice cream, And they didn't do anything inappropriate. They would like go shopping, stuff like that. But and I've never saw them touch each other or anything like that. But I knew he was her boyfriend, and I knew she wasn't supposed to have a boyfriend, So a lot of times, old school, we have actually met the other woman a lot of times, but not all the time. And in modern times, a lot of times, this is one that people have a tendency to stay away from. And I can understand why. Because like I said before, if I'm not serious about you, you shouldn't be meeting my kids. So a lot of people hold that idea in their minds. So if they never introduce you to their children, that's a very good tell of where you stand in their life. You see? Because most people are only going to introduce you to their children if they see a future with you. So it's a pretty good tell that this person is either in a relationship or just simply doesn't see a relationship with you, regardless of what they're telling you. Now, remember, all of these things are actions that you can observe in a person. You'll see these with Aquarius, and you'll see these with other signs too. Like I said, these are the ones that were the most reoccurring. And these are ones that, people have a tendency, this is how people have a tendency to get caught. Cell phones always get people caught. I've seen so many people get caught like that. So for the young lady that asked me the question of how, this, these are some small things. These are 10 small things that you might notice in your relationship. And I would say if you see all of these or many of these going on, then you have somebody who's lying to you about their relationship status. And you can go ahead and try to, get them to fess up. If I saw somebody doing all of these, I would stop seeing them. I wouldn't even try to get them to fess up, because all of these look really sneaky. These all look really sneaky, and I would automatically assume that they got something going on that I don't want to be a part of. I wouldn't know what that something is, but if I saw somebody doing 5 of these or 6 of these or all 10 of these, I would immediately back off. I wouldn't even need to have any evidence. You'll find out later. You'll definitely find out later. It always comes to light at some point in time. But I wouldn't hang on for this, because this is definitely signs that this person is a liar. Okay? So I hope that helps you. And please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you know somebody who is going through this particular situation, please send them this video. Okay? If you would like to leave a love donation, I will leave my PayPal. If you would like to get in contact with me for a tarot or oracle card reading, I will leave my email. If you would like to ask me a free general question, you can either email that to me as well, or you can just put it in the comments underneath this video. I'll also leave my Instagram and my Facebook, my social media, in case you're on social media. And let me see. That's it. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.